and welcome to Grand Central Healing. I'm Ava, and this is my introduction to yoga, my concept of what yoga is, and an introduction to the 21 most essential yoga poses that I just created. So this is the introduction to that. And I did want to actually speak to you about what yoga is. There are still so many people who have not tried yoga. I have taught yoga practically all my life, it feels like, since I was 20. I'm now 64. And I teach yoga at the moment, in the present, outdoors. I'm an outdoors sort of person. I like to do most things outdoors with nature. I have hundreds of people during the winter months in my class from all over the country and the world. And I'm astonished that people reach ages such as mine and they've never actually tried yoga. But they've heard of it, and they've heard that it's good for you. But there are, of course, many questions that arise in people's minds about what yoga is. And I get the question all the time as to whether yoga is a religion. Well, that's a difficult question to answer because you see, the origins of yoga are Vedic, from India, as is Hinduism and Buddhism. They are Vedic. But yoga actually predates both Hinduism and Buddhism. In the West, as we've done with many things in the West, we've stripped yoga of its spiritual essence, I believe. Because we, in the West, are a relatively new culture. We've just come into our own historically, here in America particularly, maybe in Europe, a lot more ancient, but as a new culture, we may not be ready yet for the depth of spiritual exploration that yoga can provide. It's not a religion as is, say, Christianity or Islam or Judaism, because there is no outward object, subject, object that can be used to unite a church around. You see, yoga is a spiritual exploration of our own identity as the divine. In yoga, the fundamental belief or understanding, shall we say, is that God is not separate from his creation. God is his creation. God is the body. God is the mind. And God is your spirit. And yoga the word yoga means to bind, to bring together, to unify. That which is separate, that which has divided. The dividing of one's self from God, that is, to place God outside of yourself, outside of everything you are, is the opposite of how yoga approaches divinity. In yoga, the understanding is that through an inward exploration of one's many layers, many dimensions of consciousness, of conscious reality, that there is ultimately the discovery of an indwelling divinity within all of us. There are certain tenets or rules of conduct, as there are in other religions. Moral conduct. And these are primary. Ultimately, you can sum up these moral tenets as to treat others as you would have them treat you. All religions share a fundamental understanding of what is moral. And so does yoga. And yoga does demand of you more, much more than flexibility. It demands of you, first of all, that you adopt a high ethical code. Because if you don't do that, then you can stretch all you want, but you're not doing yoga. Yoga is about developing yourself, changing who you are to be a better person, a better individual. To live on a higher level of moral and ethical conduct. This is primary to yoga. So is it a religion? Well, if I look at a flower and I see God in that flower, am I religious? Can you call me a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim? The simple recognition of God within creation is the way into a deeper understanding of who you are. There are many branches of yoga, 8. And Hatha yoga, the physical branch of yoga, is to create the optimum health, well-being, and to bring the body back into the fold, into the unified entity that you are. To unite spirit, mind, and body is what I'm saying. To bring them together in a place where they recognize one another to be the same thing. The body is spirit as much as it is matter. So is the mind. the mind is also, a thought is not just an ethereal thing. A thought has a reality. What thoughts you permit yourself to think definitely affects who you are, what you do, how your life unfolds. And yoga is a discipline not just of body, but of mind. Again, to discover in yourself higher principles of behavior, of belief, to unlock from yourself the natural joy that you see in children, that children bring with them from spirit. They've just come from spirit, and they bring with them a sense of pure joy. And yoga attempts to bring that joy back and to make it authentic and natural. To give you the kind of happiness that isn't dependent on circumstance. Or the outside world's condition. A joy that comes from within, simply because you are alive. This is yoga. And a beautiful byproduct of Hatha yoga, the physical yoga, is a body that is without disease, without tension, stress, a body that functions at any age beautifully. It is the anti-aging remedy. Yoga is. And I'm a testament to that. I am completely healthy. I do not have any physical limitations. I'm strong, I'm flexible, and I'm very happy. And this is our birthright. And it is taken from us through miseducation or just plain ignorance. That is the fact that we haven't been exposed to the methods of yoga, or we've been convinced that there's something wrong, there's something evil in it, there's something anti-religious about it, or perhaps a religion that is not based on the same fundamental principles as I said, is Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. The difference being, again, that yoga doesn't define God for you or give you a prescribed recipe towards acceptance by God. It's completely devoid of that kind of dogma. What it is an experience it wants you to feel the divine experience of yourself. And I realized that in the West, it's been sort of denuded of these spiritual components, and Hatha Yoga, the physical branch of yoga, has become like a sport. And of course, it's a wonderful sport because it uses the entire body. It demands that you have complete command and control of all the muscles, that you move freely and fluidly. So it is a beautiful physical practice. But without the understanding that every moment of yoga is about reconnecting to that deeper place in you where there's peace, where there's tremendous feelings of joy in your own spiritual nature. And I try, even in my yoga classes out on the beach, which, with these large classes that I teach, I have to speak very loudly. And that's often a difficult tone in which to deliver spiritual information. But I try, even out there. And I'm going to try here as well as I teach you yoga. First, fundamentally, we need to learn the poses because we want the body, again, to be, let me put it this way. When you are healthy, when you are truly healthy, you don't even feel your body. You don't even know you have one. You want to get on a bike and go somewhere, you simply do it. Your body isn't an objection to your experiencing of life. It isn't an intrusion or a barrier. When you are totally healthy, you feel your body as an extension of your spirit and not as a thing that has weight, mass, and limitations. This is why I love yoga with my heart and soul. I always have. When I discovered yoga when I was 20, actually earlier, but I became very interested in studying it at 20. I was astonished because religions usually neglect the body. In fact, some religions actually abuse the body. There's not the level of respect, honor, and feeling that the body is genuinely a part of you. This, to me, was self-evident. Even when I was a young person, I knew that this was true, and that this was the means by which you can achieve the highest physical levels of well-being, to adopt this philosophy that the body is worth your absolute attention, your love, and your deepest respect. This is why I eat so well. I'm a vegan alkaline person. Every meal to me is a choice of whether I want to create in my body the best possible chemical circumstance, or whether I want to enjoy the superficial sensations of my taste buds. After all, one really does enjoy certain foods, not only because the foods themselves are sugary, fatty, and those things are quite satisfying to you, but also because foods have relationships with your past. That is, they're connected with early childhood memories. And those are deep anchors, habitual anchors. And it is very tough to cut those and to eat according to what is best for your body. But if you do, then there's never any fight. There's never any battle that can take place often in your digestive system. You're not struggling to find the nutrients to create the energy you need to accomplish the things you want. By adopting a diet such as a vegan diet, you place your body in the happy position of not having to struggle against the toxins and the poisons that, unfortunately, the modern food system, the packaging, farming, agricultural system that we've developed creates foods that are almost antagonistic to good health. And living in a culture such as this, the best we can do is choose foods carefully. But I think I've digressed. But there is no separation really, because in yoga, it does ask you to become a vegetarian. And primarily, it does so because of ethical reasons. Because it wants you, first of all, again, to do no harm. To do no harm. To not take on the karma of having to hurt something, to hurt some animal, to provide yourself with sustenance. It's not necessary, nor is it psychologically helpful to a deepening of your feeling of divinity within. So I say that was my opinion of what yoga is. Now these 21 essential poses are what I use in my yoga classes. I use more than these, but these are the primary ones. I never repeat the same sequence in my outdoor class. But what I would do with these poses is to learn them, to practice them, in a sense, to make them a part of your repertoire, your practice repertoire. And then, from there, start to create sequences so that you can spend more time practicing self-awareness, awareness of the body, quiet focus, and a releasing of all the stress, tension, and angst that's accumulated within you from not using your body correctly or well, and from the mental disease, turmoil that is a natural part of living. So, go to those 21 poses. Learn them. Enjoy them. Make them become a natural part of your weekly activity. And from there, we can move on to bigger and better things. So, thank you very much. I thank you for listening. All my love, all my support, and namaste.